So, we just finished watching the Angry Video Game Nerd movie. Paid $5 to see it.
Thank you, YouTube.
How do you feel about the price versus the quality and what we got, the product that we got?
I think he's given me some decent videos in the past. So, for that reason, you know, if he was homeless on the street, I would tip him more than the average homeless person.
Absolutely.
I'd probably give him about $5.
I would give him a blanket to warm himself with as he's sleeping on the streets.
But that being said, this movie is totally unnecessary.
Mm-mm.
He didn't have to do this, is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would have just given him $5 to do what he did originally.
Now I kind of wish that I hadn't given it to him. But I agree in that all of his previous videos, I feel like $5. You know,
They were funny. They weren't so.
They entertained me. I watched them a couple of times. Some of them.
I did. Some of them have a lot of replay value.
But this movie was an abomination.
For a lot of reasons, some of which we pointed out while we were watching. It's a little too adult to be a kid's movie, but it's a little too childish to be a movie for adults. And because it's 2 hours long, you have to go into it knowing that there's not even the reasonable promise of a bra strap.
No, you're not going to see breasts. There's a lot of vulgar language.
Lots of profanity.
But nothing sexually explicit at all. Like maybe, they say the word fuck and
They
all that.
use words, some raunchy terms for body parts, but it kind of seemed like they tried to keep it pretty innocuous. Just F-word this and cocks that, and
I think that the only way that it would work or does work is if it's like something for teenagers, like 13-year-olds to like 17-year-olds, because it's got just enough raunchy humor to sort of like make them think that they're watching something edgy, but it's
pretty flat, honestly.
It's really flat. It's totally unrealistic. Not the obvious unrealism, but just
The characters are not likable at all.
no, they're not. The characters aren't likable. They're not like real people.
The acting is just, it's terrible. It feels very stale and forced. It feels like everybody is
At gunpoint.
they're all on like the 50th take.
And that's the one that he kept.
Pretentious.
Yeah, really pretentious, and it was like 2 hours of autofellatio.
It was just James Rolfe blowing himself. It was a cash grab for sure.
It really was, and that's the only way that I'd be able to respect it. Because I have watched the Angry Video Game Nerd since he's been doing his videos, and I've enjoyed them to varying degrees. But then, and I knew about his movie, but I obviously hadn't seen it until now. But then I was sort of like reading what people were saying about it online, and it intrigued me at how bad everyone said it was, and there didn't really seem to be any positive or good reviews about it. It was universally panned.
It just overwhelmingly negative reviews for this.
Yeah, it was like a tsunami of like 1 and 2 star reviews. Just absolutely atrocious.
Lots of cliches too.
And I would feel bad for him if he didn't sort of make himself out like he was a god or like he was more important than he actually is. Even in a sort of like ridiculous alternate universe.
Yeah, if it had been a bit more self-defeating.
Because it was not in the least.
Yeah, it made it seem just so like the stakes weren't high at all. Even the villain in the movie, that army general, says that he likes him.
Yeah.
That's just the point of the whole movie.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter
Everyone
what the plot
likes
is. Everyone likes him.
Everyone likes the nerd. Everyone thinks he's hilarious. And then there's like all these scenes of people laughing at his videos. And
I mean, maybe that's the point, that it's supposed to be making fun of the fact that that people think that he thinks everybody thinks everything
oh
he
my
does
god.
is funny.
I don't know if it goes that far.
That would be
into the
really meta.
Yeah, that would be. So here's some other observations, because I'm trying to like rethink what we talked about during the movie. But okay, so the black guy was really awkward.
Nigger lover.
And obviously, the Angry Video Game Nerds central fan base is like white dudes
Fucking
Yeah.
faggot.
from like the mid-20s to the mid-30s.
Yes.
And there's probably not really any black people in there, except that there was, a black best friend and it just seemed really painfully awkward in that, like, he was just sort of trying to have a black guy in there just to have a black guy in there.
Exactly. I feel like it would have made more sense to have as you said, the other guy.
Yeah, Mike. He does all these other videos with him. He's always co-starred in the skits and shit. So why would you just bring in this entirely new character?
It's just a person we've never seen introduced into the mythology of the Angry Video Game Nerd. Just some random kid who
It's a painfully obvious token black guy.
exactly. And he's not a good actor.
He's terrible, and he looks like he's 16. And somehow he kisses the girl at the end, and now everybody on the internet thinks that he's a cuckold. and there was some sort of weird subliminal stuff, like a black zombie attacks him and bites his neck,
and a black man enters the store where he works, and he spits on this video game, and the black guy is happy about it.
he loves it.
That's kind of weird. I mean,
That is weird. I didn't even think about that when I saw it, but that is kind of weird.
the black man is just submissive to him.
Well, they are there to service his woman, basically. That's
For him.
For him, on his behalf. No, I kind of feel bad for him, because it's like, I mean, I kind of feel bad for him, but then
Nigger lover.
but then you see the movie and you're like, wow, does he really think that people think he's that great?
Because there's no way that he could be a part of this and not see that it glorifies his ego, and it's just the grandiosity in which he sees himself. It's a lot.
It's mind-boggling. He could really have used a bit more humble sort of approach.
More humility, for
Yeah,
sure.
much more humility, because it was just about how everyone loved the Angry Video Game Nerd, and I didn't really understand why he reviews games but doesn't want to review games, and people want him to review a certain game, and he's like, no, and then he doesn't want people to celebrate him. But it's then like, why did you ever even do this in the first place? Like, why are you making videos? I think he's got to be sick of doing that by now.
It's a paycheck. It's putting diapers on his kid.
Yeah, I guess it's kind of like, when Barney the Purple Dinosaur has to suit up and like go out and do his thing. You just do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think I would have much more sympathy for him if he didn't obviously think so highly of himself, and then like have some sort of weird like Freudian sort of thing going on with black people. I'm sorry, but his representation of like the guy's black mom It's so obviously written by a white person.
It was extremely racist.
It really was. It was very stereotypical, and
She was using ebonics.
yeah, really bad like double negative speak.
She sounded like a hood rat.
She really did. She really did.
Like a chicken head.
Like an absolute
Like a hoochie.
chicken head. Yeah.
Hoochie mama.
So yeah, I don't know what he was thinking with this whole venture. I mean, I really the only thing that could make this even somewhat respectable is just him cashing in. This is like his last big hurrah, cashing in on this idea because he's already made a video game. You know, I'm sure they've done other stuff that's like brought them money off of this. But I'm pretty sure that he probably still makes a large chunk of change off of his videos. So, I mean, he probably doesn't even have to. I mean, even though everybody seems to hate him now online, and, like, even his fans don't like the movie and said that it was just a huge pile of shit, he still gets, like, really high views and stuff. So,
Yeah.
I mean, he's got to be still getting a decent paycheck, one way or another. Because it was sort of a weird mix of, like, you know, B-movie stuff and, like, really cheesy effects with, like, somewhat decent effects, and then, like, terrible actors, and then somewhat decent actors.
It was a mess.
It was all over the place. It really was. Yeah, and there's some parts that really make you cringe hard.
The delivery of a lot of the lines is just so just underwhelming.
And self-aware. Self-aware, underwhelming.
Too self-aware.
Mm-hmm. To the point that it makes you wish that he had never gotten famous. Because it seems like he's a monster now.
It's ruined him. He can never go back. He's got to lay low for a good 10 years.
I like what you said earlier, Thorn, where it's like, if he had waited until he was like 40, then the movie might have worked. You know, like, he didn't do it right now.
Yeah, I mean, because when he's 40...
It's sort of sad, and it's already self-deprecating.
Exactly.
But like this, it's just bad all the way through.
He should have parodied himself, like, he's an older guy who's kind of balding, he works at Walmart, and he just plays the video games in the electronics department all day.
Yeah, that would have been endearing.
It would have been endearing.
But this is like, he's too cool for school, but not.
It's not relatable.
It's not at all.
Because no nerds are this, like...
Popular and well-loved.
And yeah, not at all.
Chicks aren't rushing up to them to have them sign their breasts.
That happened.
That did happen. And the black guy signed... And I'm not even going to say black guy, because that was a kid. The black kid signed the chick's boobs for him, which was another sort of...
That's a pussy move.
Yeah, it really is. Well, I mean, you wrote that. You have say. You made that happen. Like, that. It's not something you didn't have control over. Why would you do that? You just look like a fucking fag.
Maybe his wife didn't want him to do that.
That's what I hear. That's what the internet seems to believe, that his wife didn't want him, you know, signing boobs or kissing.
Well, you know, the internet's right most of the time.
I believe it 100% of the time. If I see it online, I know that it's true. That's all I need.
That's it.
If I can just see it on a computer, I know that
evidence.
It's true. That's all I need. Because, I mean, how else would it get on there? You can't just post lies on the internet.
You can't. If it's on TV or the internet, it must be true.
How else would it get there if it wasn't true?
Someone had to put it there. Someone had to approve of it being there.